Can you see me?
What's up? What's up, bro? Yeah.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
You good, man? Good to see you.
It's great seeing you. I just wanted to trade stories, hear about your Earth expedition, tell you about mine. I think it'd be a fun one to do. Round two with you.
No, I'd love that. I'm excited to hear about Kenya too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was life changing. By the way, I don't know if you can tell. Well, last time you saw me, I'm about 20 pounds lighter of like
Hey,
less
nice.
body fat.
Really? Wow, you would put in the work, huh?
Yeah, dude, mainly in the kitchen and the diet situation. But yeah, like a lot of intermittent fasting and stuff, because I'm gonna take my channel in a little bit of a different direction now, where I'm gonna talk about like eating natural and supporting ecologically friendly foods,
Yeah.
regenerative foods. Yeah, I'm gonna dive into that niche on YouTube. So I need the body for that. So yeah, I've lost 20 pounds and I have another 15 pounds to go of just fat. I don't want any muscular atrophy. I want just to lose the fat. So
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. It sounds great. I mean, yeah, you look great.
Thanks, bro. And so do you. You've been looking great. You were never overweight. I was
Thank
overweight
you.
at one point. But yeah, real quick for like viewers that might be seeing you for the first time, do you want to give like a quick intro or a brief update on your life? Like what you're
Sure.
doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So currently I am working at a place called LC Nature Park, which is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. My job has currently shifted a bit, so I am the land steward and herd keeper there. So right now I'm taking care of a herd of elk and a herd of bison on the property. The goal of LC is to restore the land back to pre-colonial times. So everything is native to Indiana. So the ecosystems there, the prairies, the wetlands, the dunes, the animals, and the plants are all native. Or the plan is to make them all native. So it's a lot of invasive management, but I've shifted more towards the herd management recently. 300-acre facility, and yeah, if you haven't been, I highly recommend it.
LC Nature Park in Indiana. Is it
Yep.
like southern Indiana or northern?
It's definitely northern, but northwest.
Okay, gotcha. I think that's so cool that you're taking care of such a large native ungulate species, elk. It's a fascinating animal. Like I'm just honored to see it in the wild.
I'm, I'm
So,
I'm honored as well to work with them.
so you see them like you're. It's not really an office job. You're like out there with them.
Yeah, all day, every day, outside. Doesn't matter the elements. Yeah, basically, we do very little. It's a hands off approach compared to my past zoo experience.
Okay.
So we do a little bit of supplements to their diet, medicate when needed. We have, for example, a geriatric elk named Fred, who's now 15, who has arthritis. So we do give him a meloxicam supplement. But other than that, we let them do their thing. They have enough land to do natural behaviors. The breeding is all done. We're completely hands off on that. So it's a cool management style. I'm still learning to have a hands off approach when I want to do things like no, they're fine, they can handle it, and yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Obviously, I have some bullet points here, but I just wanted to say your shirt is awesome. Driven by Detroit, I would say.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So were you a Lions fan this past season?
I have been a Lions fan my entire life.
Okay, awesome. That was the best
Yeah.
season of our lives, essentially.
It was, yeah. I'm excited for this season too. Yeah, I'm I'm pretty proud to say. It doesn't matter if they were 0-16 or last season. I've always been a fan.
Yeah. In terms of NFL, I don't watch much. I'm just a Lions fan. I support the Lions. So last
Yeah,
season, I watched a lot more because of the run they went on. It's crazy,
yeah.
dude.
It was cool.
Um, but anyways, let's just dive in, I guess, to the EEs that we did.
Hmm.
I'll just say like my EE was a lot better than my first one. My experience with getting along with my team, it was like a 10 out of 10 in every single category. And a big part of that was because of my self-growth as a person. Like I was able to mix well with people better here on this EE than the previous one. Mainly because I became a much better listener. And just like being less aggressive with my viewpoints, trying to push people to get on board with what I'm saying. Instead, I said the same message, but I just delivered it in a different way. And I listened more. I listened a lot more. So because of that, dude, the friends I made, these are friends for life now, and the networking connections I made, it was life changing. And obviously, the wildlife we saw every iconic animal, African species, except for the leopard, which is very hard to see. But we saw cheetahs, which is also very rare. We saw all the animals, man, every animal from pretty close too. Not just on the EE, but the EE combined with the day safaris that I booked after the EE. I did some safaris on my own, some people on my own, but yeah, I'll that was just like a brief little one for me. We can dive into individual events. I'll dive into individual events later, but I want to hear about your Thailand one. So yeah, if you want, you can start.
Yeah. I'll give you the overall perspective here. So it's interesting that you say you learn to listen more and take a more of a backseat approach. And the Thailand EE was as much about conservation as it was about like inward discovery. We definitely learned, to realize that our thoughts and our emotions are not ours. And if you take the time to just look at them non-judgmentally, they kind of fade away, and what you're left with is peace. So it was a lot of meditating, a lot of self-discovery, there were tears, there was laughter. It was a very, very emotional time of kind of taking a back seat to everyday life and really getting to the root of what makes you happy. What do you need in life? So it was half of it was at a place called Kiagai National Park. So that was more of the conservation. We met with a team of hornbill researchers. So their whole goal was to fix up nest cavities and try to maintain the hornbill. There's 4 different hornbill species in the area. Okay. So they were doing amazing work there.
How do you spell that? National Park, you said?
I think it's Kyao.
Okay.
YAI, I believe.
I can search it up. I was just wondering like how to pronounce it a little bit.
Yeah.
National Park. Okay. But yeah, sorry, go on. Hornbill.
That's right. So that's actually the first national park in Thailand.
Oh, okay. And how many are there? Like there's quite a few?
There are quite a few. There are quite a few there. I mean, Thailand's it's a very large country.
Yeah, never been. I want to visit though.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. I mean, and the fact that about 95% of the population are Buddhist, so that spirituality kind of permeates the entire culture. From the moment I stepped in the cab and saw all the symbolism in the cab to driving down the street, and they have these little, I think it's like 3,500 temples.
Oh wow, 3,500.
But they consist of the larger temples like the Golden Buddha Temple and the Royal Palace, but then they have these little spirit houses. So they're kind of dotted throughout, and it's fascinating seeing people in everyday walks of life just going about their day and stopping at this little shrine basically and lighting some incense and praying and then going about their day. So it was wow. It was a very welcoming, like peaceful atmosphere.
So what was like the primary focus of like your EE? Because for us it was wildlife and people in integrated landscapes. That's like the overarching topic, and then there's a lot of subtopics within that.
Mhm.
What was like the overarching one for the Thailand EE?
For Thailand, it was Buddhism and conservation.
Okay.
That was the tie-in between the permeating culture, spirituality of Buddhism, and how it relates to some of the conservation efforts there. And that kind of takes us to the monastery, to where the population still believes in less spirituality, spirits of the forest. So they have begun protecting areas by spiritualizing the areas. And the monks are actually at the top rung of society there.
Okay.
So much so that it's to be there with them. I talked to one of the cooks that cooked for us and said, thank you so much for the food. It was amazing. And she said, no, thank you, because the money that you provide to us allows me to cook for the monks.
Mm.
I remember walking through one of the markets, and there was a monk with a basket, and everyone was just loading him up with food. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Like generosity and like nothing for nothing in return.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even well, they do believe in it's a potential. It's a bit of karma. So
Oh, okay. I
it's not
believe.
so much rebirth as it is what you do in this life. Echoes into other lives. So
Mhm.
the next life that may happen, your efforts that you've done here, positive or negative, will reverberate.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you work with like mainly monks, or are there like indigenous communities that you guys worked with?
So as mainly monks, we didn't see too many indigenous communities. So we did actually we went to a traditional or an herbal hospital, which
Okay.
was very cool. So it was all, if you chose this route, the herbal um, holistic route, it was all free. All your care was free,
Okay.
and all their knowledge that they started with, all the basis was from traditional medicine.
Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it was wonderful. And then we went and actually went to one of the plantations to where they were growing some of the herbs and stuff for traditional medicine. Met the farmers there, kind of learned their process. So yeah, that was fascinating, and how effective it is. And it's kind of like that marriage between science and tradition. It was
uh-huh.
like a beautiful blending of the two. And it was actually, the hospital was in this most gorgeous like palace. Basically, it was an ex palace.
Was it like the Cordero's Farm situation?
It was similarly beautiful. Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
yes, it was.
That Cordero's Farm is kind of legendary in the whole GFP program. It's referred to as the Encanto spot, like from the movie Encanto.
Yep, I can see that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's exactly right. I mean, it's funny because I was with Jill and Sam, which were our instructors for Brazil.
Yep, yep.
But they actually mentioned, they're like, "Oh, right now that EE is in at Corderos right now," and like it brought me back to like exactly what they're experiencing,
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
then that moment of seeing that kind of that slice of paradise after.
Yeah, moving up from cabins to like a much more luxurious situation. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Dude,
it was.
just beds is something we take for granted here.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, we also had a little sub focus on medicinal plants as medicine, and dude, it's awesome. Like Western medicine, they're not a fan of the Maasai. They don't think that Western medicine is good, which I agree with them. And I mean, I'm not totally against Western medicine. Obviously, like open heart surgery and stuff like that is amazing stuff. I think we need a blend of the two. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the traditional medicines, man, oh my gosh, they had a replacement, like an alternative for every single pill bottle I brought with me. Like my Tylenol bottle had an alternative plant. My Dramamine motion sickness pills, there was a motion sickness plant that you could eat and
Mm-hmm.
cure that. There was a toothbrush tree that you just break off a limb, the bark off. and bite the end of it, and it turns into bristles, and it feels like exactly like the bristles on a toothbrush.
Wow.
And then you can brush your teeth with that. So like, yeah, they don't have any hospitals near them where we stayed at, with the Maasai. The La Leonok Resource Center, it's the main people running it are it's Maasai owned land, and they're in partnership with Cincinnati Zoo, and the land that they have, it's called the South Rift Valley. It's just a huge valley close to the Masai Mara,
Mhm.
so you get all the animals that the Masai Mara has in that valley. It's kind of like one of the valleys in Yellowstone, like Hayden Valley or Lamar Valley, but I think it's bigger. And but
Yeah.
it's a national park, and it's all to ourselves. That's the crazy part. It's like there's no
Wow.
waiting in line for cars to pass by if there's an elephant sighting or something. Usually at a national park, it's like a huge traffic jam because everybody wants to see
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
We went to Amboseli National Park for 3 days. We camped on the outer skirts of the boundary of the national park, so it was still the Amboseli ecosystem that we were camping in. But during the game drives, there were sometimes traffic jams. Nothing too crazy, but the other place we were at for 4 nights camping, it felt like this was our place. Like this entire land was ours and ours to explore. We did game drives every day, like early morning before the sun is up, game drive for 4 hours, and then you come back, you have lunch, and next morning
Wow.
repeat. Sometimes there's a game drive in the evening. We did so many game drives in the span of a week that we really maximized our chances to see wildlife, and we did see wildlife. I took 420 gigabytes worth of footage on this. This is my main camera that I took with me, the iPhone
Uh,
15 Pro. Yeah, I plugged in an external hard drive, an SSD. I bought a Velcro thing from Target and
yeah.
thing, and then like that. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, just like that. And I was recording with no worry about space limitations. So now I have to just put in a lot of hours into post production, pop out some videos. I
Mhm.
got some of the best shots of my whole life. It was incredible, man. The Maasai, I have Maasai friends now. It still hasn't sunk in. I'm always so honored to speak to an indigenous person from an indigenous community. I'm honored to just
Yeah.
talk to them because I've met like Navajo in Arizona and Inuits in Alaska, and when I was talking to them, I felt like every minute was so precious because like I just want to learn about their culture and that deep, profound connection they have with the landscape. I want to learn as much as I can with the time I have with them, and we were literally just living with the Maasai, so it was
Mhm.
incredible, dude. It was they made this for me. This is how the women Maasai make their first form of income. It's beads. Um,
Wow.
they make beaded bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and that's how they make their first money. The little girls, when they start to get to that age where they have to make money, that's how they do it. So we had a little session where we made jewelry with the women Maasai. Well, actually, the first ever female ranger made this bracelet for me because
Oh,
she
wow.
happened to sit at our table that I was in with a few other students, and she kind of took charge of that because we got into groups, and she took charge of that table, and she was just explaining. She's kind of just answering questions we had, and it was kind of casual, but at the same time, we were all beating. It was awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. So what cultural or like personal beliefs maybe that the Maasai have you brought back to, your
Oh yeah.
time back in the US?
Their connection to their food and their land, because
Hmm.
yeah, like the food they eat is not from like a very far away source like it is here in America. Like
Yeah.
nobody knows where their food comes from here. Like statistically
Hmm.
speaking, if you ask the average American where that meat came from, he couldn't tell you. He or she could not tell you. Whereas the Maasai, pastoralism is huge in their culture, and that was a big focus of this EE, raising cattle regeneratively. It's literally regenerative agriculture. There's so many terms for the same thing. It's just ecological farming, though. You could call it regenerative agriculture, pastoralism, holistic farming. It's all the same
Hmm.
thing. But that was like a huge focus. So bringing that back to here is something I personally really want to focus on. And my professors are really supportive of me doing that. Because the
Mhm.
videos I make and the stuff I'm writing about, it's so connected to that. Um, and Americans want to know where their meat comes from, but they're just most of them they don't have that knowledge yet. But the demand for it is growing. To give you an example of how connected the Maasai are, they are mobile, like they don't have permanent settlements. They move around the landscape based on the seasonal situation. There's wet and dry
Yeah.
seasons, and because if the grass runs out, they have to move because they have cattle, and cattle need to be eating all the time. So whenever it's dry, that land goes from green to like red dirt. There's no greenery left. So they just move and they just chase the greenery. And as they graze it with their cattle, they move on, let it regrow. They cycle
Mhm.
back, come back to that same land, it regrows. So they're doing regenerative agriculture at the highest level. The Maasai are actually the best cowboys. Like the very first cowboys are actually not the English settlers. It's the Maasai. The Maasai are the very first cowboys in human history. Like they have mastered how to use every bit of the cow to its fullest
Yeah.
while also enhancing the ecology of their land. And that's fascinating to me. So yeah, just supporting regenerative agriculture back in the US and applying the little things I learned with what the Maasai do. And I think I want to make videos again. Like I made a lot of connections I did networking with different Maasai members where they want me back next summer if possible or whenever I can to come back and record like a full length, a legitimate documentary on pastoralism and regenerative cattle agriculture in an ecosystem situation. But yeah, I drank milk from one of their cows straight from the
Yeah.
cow without heating it up. My professors don't know this, so if they ever watch this podcast. But I felt great after. Like I had a good mug of it, and it was the sweetest milk I ever drank in my life because it's it is the best milk in the world. Those cows have the most rich and diverse diet. It's like different grass species from the African ecosystem that they're continuously grazing. It was so sweet, and there's no added sugar or nothing to it.
Hmm.
Rich, sweet milk. It wasn't straight from the cow. They took it from the cow, put it in a very clean gourd that they had, and then they put this ash tree preservative inside the gourd, and so that acted as a natural preservative, and it added a little bit of flavor to it. And the Maasai they loved the fact that I was so interested in trying their milk. They took me to like a separate structure away from the rest of the students, and recorded me drinking the milk.
That's so great when you have those moments, those personal moments in these EEs that just stand out that like will last forever. That's a core memory right there.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a core memory for sure. And I want to go back and record more intimate moments like that because I feel like I really bonded well with the Maasai there and the Maasai men there. And like we got teary-eyed toward the end that we were leaving because it's like no guarantee when we'll be back and stuff because we
Yeah,
bonded so
yeah,
well in that short amount of time. Um, and what was I about to say? We were camping there, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned we were in tents, just
yeah.
like yeah. We were never in a house or a hotel. We were always in a tent. It was crazy.
How
Well,
was that? How was that
yeah,
experience?
that was amazing. Like I have no, that was the best camping I've ever done. Just because, dude, we had a great team. We had so much camaraderie on this team. I felt like everybody was just supportive of each other. It felt like you could be yourself and there's a no judgment situation. We all just kind of accepted each other. It was a magical team we had. The professors mentioned it too. Like we've rarely had this much of a camaraderie and like cohesiveness in the team. So whenever somebody needed help, somebody would be available. Like, yeah, you need me to get that for you or this or that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing. And so like the land is filled with thorns. The African ground, the landscape of Amboseli and the South Rift. So you have to wear boots or sandals. Like you can't take a single step without them. But you just got used to it. You got used to it afterward. Like the first night was scary. It's like a completely foreign ecosystem. There's freaking hyenas and lions prowling about. You're kind of scared. But by the end of the last day, we felt so at home. It's like some of us were walking with flip flops. Everybody was actually. But at first, we were all had our hiking boots on. We were so scared of everything. But
Yeah, yeah.
you get used to it. You merge with the landscape, and
Mhm.
dude, every night around 3:30 a.m., you would hear a hyena clan moving through our campsite, like migrating past it. So you would get awoken to hyena vocalizations at middle of the night multiple times.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I know, dude.
That gives me chills right there.
Yeah, like your eyes would just pop open at 4 a.m. because you got woken up by like a sound like this. It goes like, "Woo," and then you hear more. And it's like the
Mhm.
crunching of thorns as you hear like this large group of large animals moving past. And then they would start a ruckus with the baboons in the middle of the night multiple times. Baboons, the hyenas, always like multiple times throughout the night you'd get woken up to them.
Wow, wow.
I was had my fingers crossed to hear a lion wake me up, like a distant lion roar.
Yeah.
We weren't able to get woken up by lions, but we saw lions. Like that was the one animal I wanted to see more than anything. Like if I had a choice, like you can only see one animal in the wild in Africa, it would be a lion. And
Mhm.
dude, toward the end of the trip, I got my lion, and I was like so overjoyed because there's no guarantee you're gonna get the lion. There's no guarantee you're gonna
Mhm.
get anything, but we got everything except for the leopard in terms of the iconic species.
Yeah.
But dude, it's beyond my expectations this trip. Like
Mhm.
I didn't get my hopes up for lions because I knew there was a chance we might not even see them. But dude, I was like 3 arms length away from a full-grown male lion just prowling around
Um,
the car. This was at Nairobi National Park after the EE. But during the EE, we saw a total of like 6 lions.
did you really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
We drove toward this one big male, and his female, his girlfriend. They were under the shade of a tree, and he was mega pissed off because he's with his lady, and we hear with this engine moving closer and closer, and they don't move, bro. Lions are so big and powerful. They have this dominant personality. They get pissed
Mhm.
when you keep coming closer. And,
Oh yeah.
the male, like his face when he got angry, just sends a shiver down your spine. Like his eye is just death. Oh my God, it was so cool. And
Yeah, when that lip rolls back.
oh yeah, the lip like rolls back a little bit just to reveal that canine, and it's like holy crap.
Mhm.
And the female actually at one point burst out of the bush and like bolted like in this one direction to find like another spot, and the male lazily got up and followed her. But when the female got up and bolted like that, we were standing up in the Land Cruiser. We all ducked back into the vehicle. It was like instinctual fear. It's like we had no control over our bodies. It just
Yeah.
yeah, it was to see like a 300 plus pound creature move like the wind, like effortlessly like that. It's like something
Yeah.
like a car. It's like the power of
Yep.
a car. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Solid muscle.
yeah. Yeah, dude. We saw everything. We saw a lot of elephants in Amboseli. It's a very elephant dense ecosystem, and we saw elephants. We saw rhinos. I saw rhinos on at Nairobi National Park. I got a lot of souvenirs, including this rosewood rhino.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I know. I like this one a lot. And I got other stuff. I got a lot of jewelry, like cheap jewelry, where I was just supporting the local communities. They sell
Yeah.
jewelry on the side of the road and stuff, and it's pretty cheap. So I bought a lot of stuff just to support them. I tried to like not support the Kenyan government if it could be avoided.
Hmm.
They're not, they're kind of they all say they're corrupt. Every person I talk to, they're like, yeah, the government is not doing what it should be doing. They could help the people, the local communities way more with the money they get. So I just bought like one magnet from Nairobi National Park, and then afterward, I realized like this money went straight to county government. Like, man, but it's whatever. I got most of the stuff I got was from local communities. The Sheldrick Elephant Nursery. I bought these rings. This ring from the Sheldrick Elephant Nursery right here.
Nice.
And I bought more stuff. I bought a shirt. I bought a lot of necklaces like this.
Okay.
Yeah. This
Cool.
is soapstone. It's a stone.
Soapstone?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Nice.
Soapstone, cow bone. There's a lot of cow bone stuff because, dude, they use every part of the cow's body. Because like the indigenous communities in North America, they found 150 plus different uses for a bison carcass.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, right? So it's like a cow is very similar to a bison, so there's also many different uses for a cow. I never knew you could make bowls out of cow bone. Like they grinded the bone down, and it's just like it feels like hard plastic, like a very high quality plastic. But then I saw on the sticker it said cow bone, and it blew my mind. I purchased a few of those cow bone bowls and spoons.
So they grind it, then they bind it with something, and then you can shape it like a clay.
This is the tribe that does this. I don't know because it's not the Maasai. And I asked them like which tribe is making this, and the person selling it, they said they didn't know. So I have to research who makes these. But yeah, they use some sort of grinder and polisher. So they grind it into the shape and then they polish it, and it feels like a mixture of ceramic and plastic. And it just made me think about the potential in the US of like if we could replace plastic with more cow bone stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that probably all goes to waste.
It all goes to waste, or like it's just not used in the most efficient way. Yeah, there's so much potential to become more efficient in the US with regarding like beef production. Because beef it can have a high carbon footprint, but it's not the beef that's the problem, it's the production process. Like in my essay, I have like this infographic that says it's not the cow, it's the how, and it shows like this diagram. Because if you do it regeneratively, beef can have a negative carbon footprint, like a lower carbon footprint than the Impossible Burger at Burger King, because the Impossible Burger has a positive net carbon footprint. After all the production processes, it's not like carbon neutral. It's like a little bit positive. Because this is what my paper is about. I got all the life cycle assessment tests and data. One of them compares like a regeneratively farmed beef patty to the Impossible Burger beef patty. And the White Oak Pastures beef patty, which was regeneratively farmed, had a net negative total carbon footprint after its life cycle assessment. It goes to show, like, dude, regenerative farming is what the Maasai are doing right now in East Africa. If we can just learn to do that in America, where we actually have the land, we have way more land than the Maasai do. One of the issues the Maasai are running into right now is they're being encroached upon by development. So if they keep rotating the way they're doing, and you keep cutting away their already finite source of land, they're not going to have time to let that land regrow its grass. So, and then the erosion occurs, the overgrazing occurs. But it's not the cows that are to blame. It's just you keep reducing their already finite land. Obviously, it's not going to be an ecological closed loop anymore. You need to have enough land to rotate the cattle to allow the grass to regrow. That's all it is. That's all the problem is. And in America, dude, we have so much land that could have animal impact on it, where you could produce beef regeneratively. So that's like what I'm trying to share with my viewers through my videos and these podcasts. I'm in the process of making a short documentary. And this is my notebook where I'm like writing notes and stuff on that, like the script thing. Yeah. So that's a topic. That's a subtopic that I'm very passionate about. Just regenerative rotational grazing's effects on ecosystems. and producing food that way.
Yeah, I come to LC. We actually we spent another 100 acres. That's all farmland that we're restoring back to native prairie. And after that, we will have enough land to rotate our bison. So
Nice.
so we will actually be doing a rotational system to where the grass can regrow and they will move along, and with that and the elk, and it should be just an amazing closed ecosystem that hasn't been seen in probably over 100 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know you were directly working on rotational grazing stuff. I mean, I think I heard you say it, but it didn't. I didn't know you were doing like rotational grazing as well, or working up with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, eventually, once we get the different pastures partitioned off, yeah, we'll start to be able to shift them over.
Okay, nice, dude. Like I have like my long-term goals, like very long-term is it's like a dream for me to own an ecotourism spot where there's farm to table for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So like you get to not only immerse yourself in the nature of the landscape, but the food you eat during the time you're there is also from the land, and it's all like this beautiful system. Because we got into this discussion, one of the discussions we got into in my EE, I brought it up, was the fact that in the US, in national parks, in the visitor centers, it's all processed foods that they sell at the visitor centers. And it's just so ironic and contradictory. Like here you are at this national park celebrating nature, witnessing the natural landscape, yet you have to contribute to the destruction of nature when you decide to eat lunch. Like there's no other option. They don't sell regenerative meats at any visitor centers, as far as I know. But I feel like you can change that and get farm to table foods in a place where you're celebrating nature. Get the food that actually supports the nature as well. Yeah. I was like, dude, whenever I go to visitor centers in Yellowstone and stuff, when I was there a few times, it's just like potato chips and like soda and hot dogs from factory farmed animals, and it's just like, what the heck?
Yeah, it is interesting that it's all such. I mean, it's just souvenirs. There's very little like educational value when you walk in there. It's, hey, what can I grab for a memory, which is great. It's great to have something there to remind you of the experience you had. But as far as the connecting to what the place is all about, there's not much.
Another major topic of this EE was actually connecting to nature and not thinking of yourself and humans as separate from it. Because we learned that was the Western perspective, the Western style of conservation, which was started by like Teddy Roosevelt and John Muir when they decided to set aside vast chunks of land as national parks, which is great that they did that. But that system has its flaws, and we learned about that in depth. East Africa, how they do conservation is very different from how we do it in America. East Africa, it's coexistence of humans and animals. They don't view them as totally separate. That like humans are part of the ecosystem there. Whereas here, it's like we are separate. We got office jobs, a lot of us do, and then we have to like go to the nature spot and just use the trails and then come back home, and we're not really connecting there. We're just going as visitors, but we're not visitors. We've evolved on this planet, and we got to coexist and connect more with nature. So it's like that's where I got the idea of farm to table for national parks. I feel like that's very needed, and I want to see more ecotourism lodges pop up where there's farm to table situations where you go there as a visitor and you get to eat the most incredible natural food on the planet, as well as see the nature. Like imagine you see bison and elk in this serene landscape, and then for lunch you have bison meat like that was sustainably harvested from that ecosystem. That's like a dream situation for me, to see that happen anywhere. If it's not the national parks, at an ecotourism lodge. There's already ecotourism lodges that do this stuff, but I want to see more of that.
So much to learn. I mean, when we were in the jungle, they were pointing out, like you said, all the medicinal plants, and every single thing you see has a purpose.
Yeah.
And at LC, we actually have people come out that are familiar with the local botany, and they'll actually do and edibles walks. Well, you'll pick while you go, and then they'll actually cook for you.
That's
So they have a chef that comes in, so everything is literally from the property.
okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I love hunters as conservationists. Not all hunters, because there's like different types of hunters. There's trophy hunters. I hate those guys. I just I just love hunters as conservationists that hunt for the sole purpose of acquiring food from nature. And that's why I became a hunter. I don't know if I told you I started hunting this year. So I got into that, and then this fall my friend and I were going whitetail deer hunting in Michigan.
Mm.
So I just want to know what it's like to like acquire meat directly from nature. No middleman. I literally went out there and got the animal myself. That's why I'm doing it. I don't have any urge to like kill animals. I just want to do it to connect with an ecosystem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I completely get that. I mean,
Yeah.
um, it's nature can seem harsh, right, to our Western, grocery store mentality, but we are exactly part of nature. We're part of the circle of life, and to be able to connect on that level is just so it's natural. It's completely natural. That's the way we have been for thousands and thousands of years. It's just recently with industrialization and the explosion of the population that we've gotten away from that.
Industrial farming is a relatively young thing. Yeah. It's like not even a century old. And it's not working. Like it's like long term, it's not good for the sustainable production of that type of food. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's in the economic best interest of people as well. It's not just about like the nature protection. It's like if you're in the economic side of things, it's like you can't keep producing food in this way. There's a limit to the land, what the land can give you, and there's gonna be massive food shortages soon if it's not changed to a more sustainable way. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, dude, I think I did a really good job at introducing my viewpoint on this matter early on the Earth expedition that I was on, because we kind of went around introducing ourselves, and I just mentioned like yeah, like the vegan community, I'd been attacked by them before, and I just want to mention like I think we should have more civil discussions between different groups and different mindsets where it's like we're more open-minded. Like I think regenerative farmers and vegans should always have podcasts and long form discussions because it ends up like we align on so much. So it's like we need more of that. And the fact that I said all that to the group, they loved me for that. Like they fully understood my take on this matter of regenerative farming and harvesting from ecosystems. And a few of the girls, or one of the girls, came up to me. There was about 3 or 4 girls that were vegetarian or vegan. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, Sada, I have no issues with meat eaters, and I think you're very brave for being that vulnerable." And I became friends with a bunch of vegan people on this trip that are now my friends. And I got podcasts scheduled with them. Like I did a podcast with my friend Eileen, who's she's not even vegetarian, she's vegan. She doesn't like being called vegan though, because it's kind of stereotypical, because that community, some people in the vegan community are very much in attack mode and
Yeah.
kind of set
Mm-hmm.
kind of cultural notion. So she doesn't like the word vegan. She likes plant-based. But yeah, she's a plant-based person. And we had a podcast yesterday, or I mean 2 days ago, and it was an awesome one because here I am talking about the other side of it. She's talking about the vegan side or the vegan mentality. And she doesn't eat animals for a personal reason. She doesn't believe that she has a more environmentally friendly diet. She just has personal reasons like why she doesn't eat meat. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I respect those vegans tremendously. I don't eat a whole lot of meat. About a third of my plate is meat. So I have like a very Mediterranean diet. I'll eat it all. I'm not like carnivore diet, because a lot of people in this whole diet thing, there are fad diets coming out, and there are communities that like a lot of the members of the community are there for identity purposes, and it's just like a big mess. I'm just here for protecting my environment. That's why I'm
Yeah.
doing, that's why I'm even talking right now. And I'm here to just back up my stuff with peer-reviewed literature and data too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this EE was awesome for me. That was a major focus of it. Pastoralism.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Thailand EE. I chose it, and the reason why I think they put me into it is I actually started a podcast myself.
Yeah, I saw that. I was gonna like send you like a congratulatory message. I wasn't able to form it correctly in time, but yeah, that was awesome that I saw you started it.
Yeah, thank you. So, in terms of one of the roles I want to play in conservation is I want to highlight the people that are in it.
Yeah,
That are grassroots, that are empathetic people. We are connected people, and because of that, we're vulnerable people.
mm,
So susceptible to burnout, compassion fatigue.
yeah,
It's very easy to, well, not easy, but it's more preferable to look at the animal as we need to save this animal, we need to conserve this animal, the needs of the animal. But what about the people that are looking after the animal, that are actually the voice of the animal?
yeah.
So, I'm just trying to create a space where they can heal and have the resources needed to continue that amazing work that they're doing.
The grassroots people.
Exactly. And to
Okay.
continue on, because burnout is a very real, compassion fatigue is very real. And we as a people have that's a finite resource. So
Yeah,
after a while of pushing, and maybe you're seeing death, or maybe you're seeing you're connecting with an animal, and it's the death of an animal can sometimes be similar to the death of a child, and
yeah.
that can send you into a spiral. Not only does that affect you personally, but it affects the work that you're doing. Maybe affects the care that you're giving.
Wait, you're
Um,
talking about like zookeepers and people in wildlife rehab centers where the animal they care for has passed away? Those
all
people?
of them,
Oh, okay.
all of them. So anyone animal care. So in zoos, shelters. I had a talk with someone that worked at a kill shelter for many years. Veterinarians are actually the highest suicide rate profession of any profession.
I heard that somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
It's an epidemic actually of people taking their lives because of that finite resource,
Mhm.
and because they're seeing their day to day is trauma,
When you say finite resource, what are you talking about?
compassion,
Okay, compassion is finite.
empathy.
Yeah,
Or you can only have so much before you start taking what's not there.
I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
It's like it
eventually
trains you.
it spirals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about your master plan and stuff. So
Yeah.
was that it, or is there more?
Yeah. So right now, I'm tying it into, well, right now I'm tying in my paper into mindfulness techniques
Hmm.
for people in animal care.
Yeah.
Actually instituted a mindfulness walk at LC Nature Park.
Okay.
Um, so a lot of meditative practices, a lot of breathing, slowing down. A couple takeaways that have changed my life so much is two. One, your mind should always be where your body is.
Okay.
Anything else, is takes away from your experience. If you take that time, we actually had a thing where every meal we had to take the first 3 bites had to be done mindfully.
Ooh, yeah.
So it
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
just
slow.
starving.
Yeah, well, it wasn't scarfing. It wasn't like you take it and you savor in your mouth and you feel the texture. It's just being coherent of what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's amazing of what you experience when you do take that time. The schedule of the monks was, wake up. We have chanting with mindfulness. We have breakfast with mindfulness. We have cleaning with mindfulness. We have everything was with mindfulness.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
when I saw them like basically sweeping leaves, and the way they were doing it was so rhythmic and so focused. And it's just to be in that moment as long as you can. We're all human. We all have intrusive thoughts that come in. The
Yeah.
question is, what do you do with them? Do you let them take over, or do you just acknowledge that they exist and then just go on with, recenter back into your breathing, into your everyday and then carry on. And then the second was, oh my gosh, it was like a light switch. Was so we all know FOMO, right? We all know fear of missing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that longing of like, the grass is always greener, or what if I need to see this opportunity now. What if we switch that to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out?
The joy of missing out because you're happy where you are.
You're happy where you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. That freeing nature of like, that is something that exists beyond, where your body is, where your mind needs to be. So if you push that away, again, it's all the same thing. What are you left with? You're left with peace and tranquility.
Yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even we met this wonderful man, Papa San. So he was the spiritual leader of the monastery.
Mm-hmm.
I can't describe what he's like. He was just beyond words. We were invited into his hut, and I remember this vividly. So we meditated together, all of us, and he was sitting in front of a window, and the light was shining in. And this man, this monk, he was probably, I think he's probably in his probably 60s, just bathed in light, completely haloed in light.
Because of the opening in the hut?
Because of the opening in the hut. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And it was just such a surreal moment, to have him talk to us about his way of life and his mentality of how he approaches things. We talked about, and of course, discussions of, in the wake of these conservation efforts of we're in a, sixth extinction, fifth extinction, all these kind of doom and gloom. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you remain peaceful when you're faced with so much destruction? Yeah. And he said, you just expand your mentality. So instead of looking at the now of what's happening right now, you expand it out. So we went through ice ages, we went through extinctions. Yeah. If you expand your mentality out, look more big picture, that we will survive this. Yeah. We're going towards a better place now, but you can only control what is happening to you in that moment. Yeah. And the more focus you have, the more impact you'll have, not only, on yourself, but the people around you.
Well, when you said we went through ice ages, I thought you meant like you went through it while meditating, like hallucinating.
Oh, the meditating was wonderful. My knees hurt for about 2 weeks after.
You had from sitting for so long. Okay.
Yeah, from sitting for so many sessions of meditating. We actually at one point, they gave us a tarp and a lunch, and they sent us out into the jungle.
A tarp.
So
wow, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So you went out there. We sat for 3 hours in the jungle by ourselves and just immersed yourself in that moment as much as you could.
No professors came with you, just students. That's what I heard one of the girls tell me, but she did Thailand last year.
Yeah, so they just basically, they hung up they gave you a name tag, hung up where you're at so they can find you again.
Yeah, okay.
And then yeah, they drop you off and then they go off, and far enough to where you can't see anyone or hear anyone. Okay. And then they'll drop off the next person.
And you're there for a few hours or?
3 hours.
3 hours, okay. And you just have lunch and just chill out there.
You just chill out there and just and be in the moment. And it was so neat because I cracked open my lunch and I was really eating mindfully. And I look over and there's this caterpillar. I just hung out with him the whole time. Awesome. We enjoyed each other's space, and he was just corn cobbing these leaves while I'm eating my rambutan. It's like a little have you seen rambutan?
A little lychee.
Yeah, very similar. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that moment of hearing hearing the birds, and it was a interesting experience because I started hearing a chainsaw,
Oh, what the heck?
and it completely took me out. I'm like, okay, this is something negative. This is something that I shouldn't be hearing. This is, a destructive sound.
Mhm.
But then I was listening to the birds, and the birds sounded like analog. One sounded like a laser from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've never heard a bird sound like this.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, maybe that chainsaw is not a chainsaw. Maybe that's a bird. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. I shifted that focus to what I'm hearing right now is something not to be judged.
Mhm.
And then again, the tranquility came back.
Okay. Yeah, because you made that conclusion about that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I put a label on it. Putting
Yeah.
label and putting labels on things puts it in the box.
Yeah.
And that box has parameters. That box has descriptors that all go along with it, and
Mhm.
everything you put on top of that weighs it down.
Yeah. Gotcha. Is that like what they taught you guys to think about it that way?
So some of the things, I mean, the main takeaway really is meditation and mindfulness and focusing on your breathing and realizing that you are separate from your mind,
Like your soul is separate from your mind?
your thoughts, your
Okay.
thoughts and feelings. So thoughts and feelings that come they're almost evolutionary.
Mhm.
When you feel anxious, when you feel scared, when you feel anger,
Yeah.
these are all illusionary things that your mind is telling you to protect you. You
Yeah.
know, the emotional mind can be very powerful, right? It's not trying to hurt you, but it's trying to keep you safe.
Yeah.
So it can overreact, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's
So
to
yeah,
like you're sharpening your mind basically. You're sharpening how to be in charge of your mind.
exactly. And through years and years and years of practice, that even we had a meditation with Papa San where he gave us 2 cups and a bunch of beans.
Mhm.
And every time when we meditated, and every time we had a thought, take the bean, you put it from one cup to the other.
Okay.
And then you go back to your breathing, and then so forth.
Wow, I'm gonna try that out when I meditate, just like here in my room. Because I try to meditate. I don't know. I just try to like silence my mind for 5 minutes a day. So I might try
Mhm.
that with like some marbles or coins or whatever every time I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And what was fascinating is I took a moment. Actually, I stopped meditating and I looked at Papa San. This revered monk. That is in charge of the monastery, that has decades of experience. Actually, one of the books that we have for the course was written by him. So I looked at him, and he was just moving beans. And I
Uh-huh.
was thinking, I was like, but why? Like, how is someone that has practiced for so long having so many intrusive thoughts? But what turns out is he has practiced for so long that he is so in tune that even like the thoughts that we would not perceive, he's perceiving.
Like from your heads, he's getting them,
No,
or
from him, from his
okay.
thoughts. Yeah. So the thoughts that he's having, he's at a level to where we might perceive a thought, move a bean. He's perceiving 3, 4, 5 thoughts at a time.
Uh-huh.
So he's completely in tune to that portion of his consciousness.
Okay. Yeah. That's insane. That's
Mm-hmm.
rare, right? That's like
It's it's like anything. It's like shooting a free throw. You know, it it's like any type of thing that takes practice. He's been practicing 8 hours a day for 30 years.
wow.
Uh,
I'm really interested in that stuff, especially the breathing stuff that you mentioned, because I listen to Wim Hof on his podcast appearances, and Wim Hof talks about the benefits of breathing are so profound that it can replace a lot of prescription medications and stuff. And the
mhm,
pharmaceutical companies don't want that. He's doing a lot though, Wim Hof, on spreading like more natural solutions to heal the body and
mhm,
breathing. Just the different ways you can improve your mind and body through breathing techniques, it blows my mind. And
mhm.
I'm sure every culture has a different way to go about it. Like Thailand probably does breathing exercises that are unique. Did you guys do any breathing stuff?
So breathing was basically just a tool to bring you back.
Okay.
So when your mind wandered, it was the easiest way to bring you back. There's other ways to do it. They use music at one point, music because it basically preoccupies that part of your brain that's trying to come up with ideas,
Okay.
and it grounds you in the melody, especially a more rhythmic melody, because it's something that you can focus on while you're meditating. I saw a monk, he had a string tied from one end of the Dharma hall to the other, and he
Mhm.
was walking. We did a lot of meditative walking, and he was walking with one hand on the string. So that string was grounding him, like breathing. So there's different techniques to do it. It's basically a way to ground yourself, bring you back to your present moment,
Yeah.
and then you can continue on with your meditation. Yeah, they've dedicated their lives to finding, eventually enlightenment.
Yeah.
Is but that can take multiple lifetimes
Yeah. No,
to
I think
do.
the human mind has still so much potential that we can like get to. I think that's going to be the next revolution. I actually like the industrial revolution has happened, the technological one has happened. I think the next one will be a mind revolution where we're going to really figure out how to take full advantage of the potential of what we have up here. Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I read the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, and that's what led me to that conclusion because he mentioned that that's what he thought the next revolution would be. So different mind exercises and stuff I love. I take like
mm-hmm,
cold showers, anything where my mind is saying get out of here, get out of this situation, and you have to like be resilient in that situation. I think those are great to exercise your mind. Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Guiding growth.
Yeah, like I take cold showers because I'm so inspired by some of the things I learned from Wim Hof in his long form podcast appearances. All the benefits, the health benefits, the mind benefits of getting cold water on your body and then just breathing. Like when it hits your body, it's just alarm signals get sent off in your mind, and the way to
Mm-hmm,
combat that is breathing, according to Wim Hof. So when I put that cold water on me, I just taken a big inhale through my nose, hold it, inhale out, inhale again. And dude, it's just over in 2 seconds. That panic mode goes away in 2 seconds, and then it gets easier from there. I'm just in that cold water, and it's just that
mm-hmm.
initial fight or flight moment. Um, but cold showers are easy compared to ice baths. Like a full on ice bath is a whole other. Yeah, I've done those too,
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm,
too much. I gotta buy
mm-hmm.
I gotta buy a tub where I can do it here. I usually drive to my friend's spot to do it. Um, he's got a Facebook group called the Cold Crew, and I'm a part of that. And we just get
Nice.
cold showers every now and then. In the winter, he
Yeah.
goes into lakes in Michigan, and he went into Lake St. Clair with his friends. I got to join him on that. But dude, real quick, this is one of the things I got from my EE. So the Maasai, I bought a full-on Maasai outfit, by the way. We danced with
Nice.
Maasai. I was so
Yeah.
immersed in this EE with the local people. It was amazing. We danced around a big fire under a starry sky on our last night, and it was so magical.
Wow.
That was their gift, their send-off gift to us. And when I bought the full Maasai outfit, which is in my closet somewhere, I also bought the weapon that goes on their belt. So this is their
Yeah.
weapon. Yeah. This is just a club. It's like a fire hardened up here, so it's extremely hard right here. And it's
What's
so
that made out
it's wood. It's just I forgot which kind of wood, but it's
of?
definitely. a tree in their ecosystem, probably an acacia. But you basically hold it here and use it as a club, and they have to fight lions with this. Uh, the young men, yeah, that's all you get. No firearm, nothing. This is it.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you. Wow.
That's like the rite of passage for a young Maasai men to transition into a full warrior. And
Mhm.
I wrote the notes of the exact specific details, but that is the general thing. And back in the days, they used to do that. Now, not so much. Like every young man, rite of passage is not to do that. Apparently now, the times have changed. You know, there's less lions and stuff. But that was
Mhm.
the original method of becoming like a full-on adult man in their culture. You have to like overcome a lion with this. You got to go out there on your own. And yeah, it's awesome, dude. It's like
Wow.
for me,
Wow.
that's like that's like so impressive to me. Because here in America, hunters got all these high caliber weapons and Gore-Tex pants and boots and all this stuff, and they're just out there
Yeah.
sometimes barefoot. Dude, when they saw my boots, because I got some boots from REI to for this trip with a rock plate in there, because there's thorns everywhere. They were like, "Man, we wish we had those boots. Like they have no access to boots that heavy duty." And I'm like, that made me sad. I was like, "Man, I want to donate like a bunch. I want REI to start like some sort of collaboration with the Leleonok Resource Center because
Yeah.
they would benefit from it. They got all open-toed stuff, open-toed shoes. And my friend that I made there, Nelson, the camp manager, he's like a few years older than me. He like every year gets bit by a scorpion or something, and there's no treatment, so he has to just sit and take the pain, and like
Yeah.
it's traumatizing, man. He has to just
Sleep
like
it off.
yeah, his body fights that off, and yeah, scorpion venom in there for those species is no joke. So he's like in pain and agony for hours, and then it goes away. And it's because of his
Wow.
open situation.
Yeah.
Their kids, the Maasai kids, they're taught not to express pain so much. They're taught to be resilient in that way. Like even like when their parents don't like it when the kids cry. This is for the boys. I think it's different for the girls. The boys are taught not to cry, not to scream in pain, just to take care of the situation calmly. And they're reprimanded when they cry and scream. They're even circumcised without anything, no antibiotics or anesthesia. And the parents really reprimand them when they're circumcised and they're like showing emotion. So they're like a whole nother level of mind resilience, and yeah, it's insane to see. We played soccer with the Kenyan Ranger team. It was amazing. And I got a Charlie horse while we were playing, and they did a
Yeah.
treatment on me, a Maasai treatment, and it was so painful. And I was like trying not to. I was just like kind of biting the bullet, but they were.
Yeah.
He was telling me like, yeah, Maasai men they show no pain. Um, oh, sorry, but yeah, I tried to like just fully it was kind of similar to a cold shower. Your mind is telling you to get out of this situation and stuff. And
Yeah.
I just used breathing techniques I learned from Wim Hof. And yeah, they rubbed this ointment on me and just did a deep tissue massage right on top of the Charlie horse. So it was very
Yeah.
painful, but it cured it in 2 days.
Uh, that reminds me. So there's a place called Tiger Temple. So it was 2,160 steps up to this temple, and
Okay.
these steps were like incredibly steep and
Mhm.
incredibly tall.
That's
I
crazy.
I was about a fourth of the way. I didn't realize. Like, I felt like I've been walking for a while. But I asked somebody, I'm like, almost there. They're like, no, not even close. I'm like, okay. Like, all right, forget it. I'm going to do it. I mean, it's like 90% humidity. It's like 90 degrees. You're just,
Water with you for
oh,
drink?
yeah. Bro, I brought plenty of water. There's actually monkeys along the way. They're like, could be a little grabby. Yeah. So I finally made it to the top, just exhausted. And of course, a beautiful vista. And then the next day, I was pretty sore. My calves were pretty sore. So I was
Okay.
like, you know what? I'm going to get a massage. Like, I'm going to get a Thai massage and see
Yeah.
what that's all about. Terrible idea.
It hurts, right? It hurts like hell.
It's you're like I feel like fighting for your life, basically. but through some of the training and some of the ideas from this EE I probably put myself, focus on my breathing and realize that this pain is temporary. At one point, this small Thai woman was standing on my back, walking up and down my back.
Oh my God.
And then taking her elbows and just digging into my calves. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, but yeah, to focus your mind on what is actually happening and what can be controlled, which is the pain. You can't control that pain. I mean, some of these monks can slow down their heart rate to incredibly slow. They have
Wow.
like that much control over their body.
That's crazy. That's a whole nother level. Change your BPM and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But dude,
Yeah.
I also got a Thai massage a few times for the first time ever in my life this year. And the first time it was kind of painful, yeah, but I wasn't sore like you were, so it was probably way worse for you. But I went to Japan like about 4 months ago, and then had like a 3 month gap, a 2 month gap between Japan and Africa, and there's just two totally different places in one half of a year. So I got
Yeah.
tremendous experience just in 6 months, and I would say Japan prepared me for the Africa expedition, because my mind became more resilient. I learned to be more resilient after being in Japan. It was a very immersive trip because I was with my Japanese friend. I stayed with him the whole time and stayed at his mom and grandfather's house. So I woke up, I had breakfast with them in their way. But do Japanese people, they've mastered mind resilience. Like they're work machines, and obviously there's negatives to that, but like not talking about the negative side of it, just there's positives to it too. Like they do not complain. When it's time to work, they just work. And like I, as an American, someone who grew up in America, I got on the train and I was just looking for a place to sit, a place to put my backpack on and just relax, because I have to sit on this train for 20 minutes. But I saw the people around me. There's like this high school girl, she's like 15, and got her headphones on, her big heavy backpack on. She's typing on her phone. She's not even sitting, she's standing. They just like that uncomfortable state, and they don't want to just offload. And because I feel like the American mindset is to offload and be relaxed and just think clearly. They like to be in that constant flux of like almost like an uncomfortableness, and it doesn't bother them. Their minds are sharpened in that way. It's hard to explain until you actually experience it, but that's why they're the hardest workers. I mean, they make the best cars, they make the best cameras. Because when they set their mind to something, it's just they're on it, and they're not going to give up until they get that. They get to the victory. So like seeing that for 9 days, the 10 days that I was there in Japan, I was so inspired. I complained a lot less when I came back to America. I stopped complaining about shit. I just just found the solution to the problem without complaining at all. And that prepared me, I would say, tremendously prepared me for this EE in Africa, because, we ran into issues. Stuff doesn't work all the time, especially in East Africa. Like things are not guaranteed in East Africa. Like nothing will work. Everything kind of works temporarily, and then it'll cease to work, and you got to find, but the solution is just around the corner because the people are so friendly. For instance, Nairobi versus Japan, dude. Japan, everything works all the time, and there's no like, it's 100% of the time that everything works, and East Africa, it's about 35% of the time it'll work. So
Yeah.
it's like you got to be ready for shit to not go accordingly. Like if you set a schedule for your day, there's no guarantee it'll go that way, because like you could call an Uber and it'll say 3 minutes away, and then 35 minutes have passed and it still says 3 minutes away. It still might say 4 minutes away. Then you got to
Yeah.
cancel that ride and then call another Uber or do something else. Yeah, it was a piece of cake for me, though. This is what I'm trying to say, because I just did not complain. I never let my mind get down that route where I was like, I'm in trouble. It's like, I'm not in trouble. I just got to find a solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. You have the perspective.
Yeah, that's and I think that takes constant practice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's joy in suffering. It's just got to know where to look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the intermittent fastings that I've been doing, it's not just for physical improvement. Obviously, it's for physical improvement, but it's also such a mental challenge, you know, as someone that
Mm-hmm.
loves, well, I love to eat like everybody else, and I'm depriving myself so much. And it's so easy now, though, for me, because I know like I have food, like I can eat whenever. I'm not like out of food, and I just focus on my task at hand. And eating that first meal after 24 hours is like a freaking euphoric experience every time. And I've really tried
Yeah.
to be mindful for those first few bites as well, because you have this
Mm-hmm.
urge to want to scarf it down. But if you just eat it slow, it totally changes the experience. It's like a euphoric experience.
If you want to give this a try, I recommend it. So find any spot in nature,
Hmm.
something that speaks to you, and map out like a 1 foot by 1 foot area,
Okay.
and just sit and look at it. Just look at it for about a half an hour.
Half an
Just
hour.
a 1 foot by 1 foot space, and just don't you know, if you start gazing away, just come back, focus on your breathing, come back and look at it, and let me know what that experience is for you. I'd be curious.
Foot by 1 foot. I'm writing this down in my notes, and as
Yeah.
well your bean technique, moving the bean. Yeah, I'll try them out. Yeah. So
Yeah,
just
1 foot by
at
one
it.
foot space, and just stare at it.
Okay,
Simple as that.
for 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah, because I love to look at micro stuff. Like ever since I was a child, I would be fascinated by little things, the intricate details on the shell of a ladybug. And people didn't really acknowledge, they didn't encourage that behavior. Like I was bullied for that. So it's like now that you say you should do it for 30 minutes, that's such encouragement there. So I'm gonna try that out because that's just like do it more, you know? It's like,
Yeah, no, yeah, do it more.
yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree, man. It's like it's fascinating, like little insects, little 1 foot by 1 foot areas of nature. There's so much going on in that space. It's like,
Exactly, and you never run out. That's the thing is, I mean, you never run out of things to discover. It just keeps getting more detailed
yeah,
in a space that's so small. So just imagine when you're just walking, you know, on a hike, how much you're missing. But if you just take the time to really be in the moment and really focus and be open to those experiences, I mean, it enriches everything.
yeah, I know, dude. It's insane. That's why I'm into macro photography as well. But I'll try
Mm-hmm.
that. I will add that to the list. So gazing at a 1 foot by 1 foot space in nature, moving a small object every time a thought comes while I'm meditating.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
Mm-hmm.
else you recommend? Any other little strategies or exercises?
Yeah. Actually, I would recommend looking up total relaxation meditation,
Okay.
and going through a couple of those, and try not to fall asleep.
Awesome.
But those will. I mean, I think it might be like your cold shower where you come out completely like reborn,
Yeah.
basically.
Dude, my mind becomes a blank slate after a cold shower. Like I go in there with so much thoughts and like things I'm trying to plan out, a little bit of anxiety. And then after the cold shower, I'm like blank slate again, blank canvas. Let's focus
Mm-hmm.
on one thing at a time now and go back into this battle mode of life, you know, daily tasks
Yeah.
and enjoy the process. I enjoy the process more when I'm like clear-minded like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A
And to
lot.
your listeners, a good way to start, amazing way to start is do something that you do every day. Um, for me, it's actually taking my dog for a walk. So it's like a 10-minute walk. We go out, and I leave my cell phone behind, anything that might be distracting behind, and
Yeah.
it's just me and Rocky,
Oh yeah.
just just together, really trying, just breathing and focusing on on my steps. But you can even go as far as, and this is some of the one of the monks do. You say in your mind like, I'm walking,
Mhm.
I'm walking, I'm walking.
Yeah.
You say what you see. You do the five senses thing. Like, what do I hear? What do I smell? What do I taste? And go throughout that while you're walking.
Mhm.
And that experience it's a great way to start your journey towards mindfulness. I mean, it's little chunks. Doesn't have to be. You could be mindful at any time at any moment.
Yeah. You just gotta, I think we gotta just take it more easy and just, relax a bit more and not worry so much about the future and just be present. Try to
Mm-hmm.
just like be grateful that you are here and then use your mind as a tool.
I
Um,
love that you say that. Gratitude is so big. I mean, one of the instructors, the Thai instructors, every morning she wakes up and she thanks herself. She said,
mm,
thank you. Her name was Zhang Li. Thank you, Zhang Li, for being alive. Thank you, Zhang Li, for breathing. Thank you, Zhang Li, for having this day. And to have that self gratitude is like it's integral part of this whole process.
oh yeah, dude. Because when you wake
Mm-hmm.
up, that's a critical moment where you get off to a very rocky start if you just reach for the phone and start doom scrolling, or you
Mm-hmm.
can like just be grateful, maybe go outside, get that sun on your face, as Andrew Huberman is a proponent of. Another thing that has helped me is, in this day and age where we have so many obligations, little tasks we have to do throughout the day, I like to offload from my mind. So I just have an agenda. I have an agenda again, just like high school. So it's
Yeah.
like Friday,
Yeah.
August 2, Saturday, August 3. What do I have to do? I just have it bullet pointed out so I can walk around with a more clear head, not just remember stuff up here. And
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
like when I have the next thing I have to do, I just go back to here, and I don't forget to do things anymore because I have written down the night before. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
yeah,
That's a good technique. Yeah.
having an agenda. And I'm more on the introspective side. Like I journal pretty routinely, not every day, but I like to be introspective because I'm just a creative individual. I have to be in a creative career, which is why like a 9 to 5 doesn't suit me as who I am. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this grind of trying to make it as a creative, trying to make money through my videos and my writing because it's difficult, but I'm just falling in love with the process more and more and not thinking about when will I be able to support myself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking more along the lines of like what project I'm more like immersed in my current project. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how you
Mm-hmm.
get the money. That's how you get the ability to support yourself because you produce your best work that way. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, dude. And I'm excited for people that whenever they channel their creativity, you don't have to be a full-time creative, but like just little hobbies you do on the side that are creative, I support that fully. Painting even or drawing. I used to draw a lot as a kid and I got back into it recently. That's a little hobby I have on the side because like using your hands to create physical stuff is really good for mental health. Because the stuff I'm creating, it's all on the screen. It's like either a Word document or a video. It's not something physical I can touch. So I started drawing again. And just like 5, 10 minutes a day before I get to work on my actual projects. So I've drawn a few species. I wanted to show you this on the podcast, which is why I have it right here. I
Yeah, please.
yeah, I drew this hyena morphology and stuff.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
It took a while. It took like 4 hours, but
That-
that's a
Oh,
female.
that's
That's
cool.
yeah, and got Amboseli. Got Mount Kilimanjaro on the back, not completed, and then we got the morphology here of
Oh,
like
wow.
the jaw muscles and the teeth enamel because hyena
Yeah.
enamel is different than like lion enamel. It's like zigzag.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to just like show that. So I didn't like trace or anything. I copied. I had a National Geographic magazine on one side, and I was just like naked eye trying to replicate the proportions. So I had to do a lot of erasing for the first like when you get the proportions down, you have to like erase it, adjust, and when you're satisfied with the proportions, you put on your few layers of shading, details.
Yeah.
It's just so mentally satisfying, just like taking a break from the chaos of your obligations and everything to just draw a sketch. That's why
Yeah.
do it for that reason.
That's interesting you say that, and I'll send you another possible technique. It's actually a drawing meditation where
Okay.
it's you I'll send you the instructions on how to do it, but I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm going to send it to you and see what you think about it.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
it got good. Got rave reviews from some of my fellow students when they did it.
Wow. Okay. Is it okay? I'll watch it. I'll watch the video.
Yeah, no, I'll send it to you for sure.
Awesome. So I have just a few other bullet points, but dude, real quick, your shirt reminds me of a book I'm reading right now. Your shirt reminds me of a book I just started reading. It's this one. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Nice.
Yeah. So it's
Nice.
not an autobiography, but biography, I guess, or a memoir. It's good. I mean, I'm like 40 pages in. I'm an avid reader. Like I want to continue reading books for the rest of my life. I read about 15 minutes a day these days.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
sufficient reading time. Like in those 15 minutes, I'll read about 4 or 5 pages, and that's enough to finish like 5 books every year, five entire
Mhm.
5 to 10 books every year. So I'm just like utilizing that. I used to read a lot more when I was in my early 20s, like 22, 23. I read like 4 hours a day. I got a lot of books read. Um,
Mhm.
but now I still want to like be in that flow of reading books. And so currently I'm reading this and I'm reading Phil Jackson's book, 11 Rings. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like a amazing, like it's stuff I'm super fascinated by that I read. Obviously, I'm fascinated by this guy that's from Michigan, you know.
No, yeah. I like that. The Phil Jackson, he's as much I mean he's a guru, his philosophy does relate to other aspects of life as well.
I remember you and I were talking about like Michael Jordan and stuff on when we were sitting next to each other on the bus and
I
like
remember.
Kobe Bryant's early career and stuff. And we mentioned like how it was so good to talk about guy things for a change. So funny. And you know, I mentioned that to my professors on this EE. I was like, because on this EE, I was the only guy. I was the only man. I
Really?
was
Oh
like,
wow.
man, 18 girls. It wasn't a problem. It was actually awesome. Like I became friends with all of them.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I did mention to my professor, we were sitting in this round table having dinner. It was one of those chill moments. We had Tuskers, and we were just like shooting the shitter and talking. And I said like, yeah, on my previous EE, there were it was me, Steven, and Grayson. So whenever we had a chance to talk about guy things, I remember I mentioned like me and Steven, we would talk about guy things, and it was such a relief. And my professor was like laughing her ass off, and she's like, what is?" She's like, "What is guy things exactly?" So that explain. I'm like literally, it's just like us talking about Mike Tyson in his prime or Michael Jordan, and you could just see their faces like they're not interested in that stuff. And
Well,
it's so
yeah, yeah, everyone has their own passions, you know. Yeah, I mean, it feels like you grew up with some sports influences, and I did as well. You know,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's relatable.
yeah. I feel like the major ones, you know, Mike Tyson, arguably the greatest of all time. I feel like most guys like him and are fascinated by his career. Like statistically speaking, you know, it's like
Yeah,
most of his fans are male. And then Eminem, we talked about Eminem. You actually dyed your hair blonde during that phase where he was like Slim Shady. That's
I
awesome.
sure did. I sure did. Yeah, I was the real Slim Shady. Yeah, I looked like a light bulb walking around.
You could have been
But
in.
yeah, I mean, being from Michigan in that era, that was in like my freshman year of high school. So
Yeah,
very influenced by
you,
that genre of music and Eminem especially.
yeah,
Man,
you could have been in that music video. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? You could
I,
have
sh-
been.
I should have been. I know, a missed opportunity.
Yeah, dude. Dude, he's an artist. He's a true artist, Eminem, because he's not like one of those industry pleasers. They're just trying to make the album that sells, and I respect him for that. Um, and he's helped you and me and so many millions of people get through tough times with his lyrics and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of literature, reading. I love to write. And so that's why I'm obsessed with his work because it's literature, it's poetry, man. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I put him up there with the greatest artists in human history.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, the stuff that he
I
makes
agree.
is so much higher level of skill and talent than the major songs that are on the Billboard charts these days. Like
Mhm.
I don't think Taylor Swift is as talented as Eminem, not even close. And Ariana Grande and stuff. Britney Spears, they're good, but he puts in way more work into his stuff. Like it's obvious, when you break it down, it's obvious.
He's a master of his craft, and then the fact that he's been doing it so long and continuing to evolve
Yeah,
and become more masterful as he gets older is like shocking. I heard somewhere he like reads the dictionary.
yeah. He was
Uh,
MGK made fun of him for that, but he's like, yeah, it's true. Like I'm a nerd at the core of it. I'm a nerd, and
yeah,
why not?
yeah.
I'm the greatest. But yeah, dude, I was gonna say, like you mentioned walking, right? And how that's so good for you when you're
Mhm.
walking without your phone. So sometimes I do that, and some of my best ideas come when I'm in that walking motion, and I'm just
Mhm.
walking. My ideas flow in a whole different like platform, a playing field. Because my mind kind of offloads the task of walking, where my
Yeah.
creative juices are now working better. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's like the only time I try to pray. I haven't connected to any religion yet. I just think there's a higher power. And when I walk, I try to communicate to God. So, and I try to say statements that I say statements out loud to make me more confident in my abilities. Like I'll say my goals, like, and I just say it. Nobody can hear me. I'm just saying it where it's a very private space. And sometimes I'll say the end of Lose Yourself, where he goes, "You can do anything you set your mind to, man." I'll just say that. I'll just be like, "I can do anything I set my mind to," and I'll repeat
Mhm.
it. I'll repeat it, and I say it with different levels of confidence until it feels natural. Dude, it does so much. And God willing, you'll see my channel grow in subscribers by late fall because of some of these video ideas I got. I know they're going to perform well, but it is like, it's a process,
Yeah.
so that helps. That helps a lot. That line, you can do anything you set your mind to. Because at the end of the
Mhm.
day, I'm just trying to help people with the videos I make, with the work I create, and support myself financially with it full time, where I don't have to work part-time jobs. I'm working two part-time jobs right now, three.
Yeah.
DoorDash, Uber Eats, as always, that's a very flexible one. But I got another job as a part-time line cook at a restaurant 2 miles from me, just not only for the money, but to learn. Like I work to learn these days and to gather experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted a job where I'm communicating with people, with other human beings physically. So a line cook at a restaurant, that's a lot of communication there. And I did
It
that
is.
so I can exercise my communication skills. Because DoorDash, you're alone. And when I edit videos, I'm alone for the most part.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I just
Mhm.
wanted a job where I could get that in. And also, I'm working there, that particular restaurant, for another reason. It's because that restaurant, Eminem is like a partial owner of it.
Really.
Yeah, he's a grand caster in
Wow.
yeah. So like there's like this small chance he might walk in one day and I like tell him that I got a podcast. I'm not here to fanboy over him. I'm here to like collaborate with him. Like he's a
Yeah.
creator. I'm also a creator. He just happens to be one of the greatest of all time, but still I don't think I can't reach those heights, and I don't say that arrogantly. I just know that that's a fact for everybody.
Right.
Feel like we
Right.
we glorify people and we think that they're on some other level than us, but they were just at the same level as you and they put their reps in and got better.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And remembering to to really enjoy the journey and find joy in other people's accomplishments is so important.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. I'm always happy for people, especially people where they're raw, they're true. Like he's got the classic American dream story, coming from a trailer park home to being a
Yeah.
multi-platinum selling superstar. That's such an American dream. And
Mhm.
his daughter Haley has a podcast of her own. I don't know if you know it. It's called
Yeah.
Just a Little Shady. Haley, that's her daughter's podcast.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's awesome. I recommend it.
Cool. I didn't know she had one. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's doing well. She's got routine guests coming on there. But yeah, if she ever decides to collaborate with local creators in the Detroit metro area, I'm so for it. I'm like working at yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to go there. Yeah, because
That would be amazing.
she actually goes to this restaurant to eat like regularly. And I just know that because one day I was on Instagram and her story, I clicked on it, it was like showing some tacos, and the location was Grand Castor, which is like a 5-minute drive from my house. Like,
Yeah.
that must mean I'm just driving around here like pretty routinely.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah, he's stayed local and I mean really embraces that community. I mean, Detroit is such an up and coming place. I mean, I wish I would have. I wish I would have kind of stayed now with like this resurgence because when I was there, it was kind of falling apart a little bit. But there's a new resurgence of life, and it seems some of it is actually conservation based with community gardens.
Yeah, I know what
It
you're talking
seems
about.
more local focused, people focused, as
Yeah,
opposed to big corporations coming in. So no, it's a neat time to be in that city.
yeah, dude. You're always welcome. I'm sure you got people here too, but like you're welcome to come here as well. Visit my family, and we could go eat at a restaurant. I'm open to hanging out.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, it's been too long, and yeah, I need to make my way to see you for sure. I'm gonna be up there a few times. Actually, getting married in October.
Oh, dude,
Uh,
congrats. Yeah,
thank you, thank you. Yeah, so we'll be actually up in Pictured Rocks for that. So we're heading up to the UP.
you told me you wanted to get married by like a lake, or did that already happen? And this is just like a wedding.
No, no. So yeah, well, it's our wedding. Yeah, in October.
Okay, nice, dude. This is the same girl that you introduced me to over like video chat.
Yeah, same one.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
How long have you guys been together?
a little over 3 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, she's amazing. Just such a big heart, and the things that I mean, she makes me a better person.
Okay, that's the way to do it. My parents keep urging me to get married like now, and I'm like, no, like I need a minimum 3 years, and then I wouldn't mind getting married at the age you got married. I feel like that's a good age. But in my culture, like in Bangladeshi culture, that's not recommended. You usually get married in your mid to early 20s, which is weird. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my parents are great. They're not forcing the culture on me. They're way more open-minded. So yeah. I've also never been a hit with the ladies that much until like now. It's like
It makes me so
I might not
happy.
include all of this portion of the podcast, but dude, and she was like, if only you had more time here, because she was. I'll show you her. I'll show you an image. She's gorgeous, and she's like 10, 12 years older than me. So when she asked me how old I was like, how old are you? And I just didn't want to. And then I told her, you know what, I'll be honest, I'm 26, and but it doesn't matter to me. I'm very mature for my age. And then she didn't care. She was like, dude, the fact that I've learned how to just be myself around women has made me way more attractive to them, where I'm just being myself, and I'm not like, I'm being myself and I'm being respectful, and they're so attracted to that. And the way I communicate, it's like from my heart. I'm not wearing a mask or anything, and I learned to smile. I didn't really know how to smile properly in the first EE. It wasn't natural for me, but yeah, I got a lot of practice smiling And with these Maasai kids and stuff, these Maasai kids, there's that language barrier. So you have to communicate with your smile and little games and stuff. So I got really good at communicating with a smile. It was,
Yeah.
it was a good,
Yeah.
it was a great trip. It was
Yeah. It sounds like it. You would do well in Thailand. Actually, it's called the land of smiles. So that's
oh, okay.
their whole culture is based on smiling.
I see. Yeah,
You
because
know.
you communicate a lot with a smile. Like people can see what you're communicating with a smile.
Mhm.
So it's such a human thing. But yeah, dude, I'm just gonna focus on my career here because I feel like the ladies could be a distraction for me right now. But I just
Good
love
thing.
that. Yeah, I love the fact that I'm able to. Because in high school and stuff, like I had the physique, but I wasn't good at like approaching girls. A lot of people in my generation are not because we're just in the screens all the time. It's dating
Mhm.
apps, yeah. But it's a beautiful thing when you're a man and you're confident and you can make women laugh and stuff for like a prolonged period, and you're respectful to the point where
Yeah.
you're not pushy at all. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah. To be able to connect on that, yeah, like confidently on that level, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It just feels natural. It all happens for a reason, and yeah, and you're in a good place right now.
I've just been grinding, dude, and grinding and visualizing where I want to be at, and like praying to God on these walks and stuff. And now I see like these things just being handed to me, it seems, by God and the universe. Yeah, like
Hmm.
I think the future is bright if I continue grinding.
I'm excited to see where you go, man. I mean, I know you're very passionate. You have been for some time. So I mean, it's I will be following you and seeing what you're up to.
I appreciate it, dude. I love the little supportive comments I get too. Because like my family supports me, obviously. That's the main thing. And then the little supportive comments is just more fuel to the fire, the good
Mhm.
fire. But
Yeah,
I hope your podcast does well, as well. I love to see people starting podcasts and taking advantage of this relatively young real estate, which is social media and the internet.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
on multiple platforms or just like one?
So I just put my stuff on Spotify right now,
Okay.
which I think, eventually I'll branch out. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Actually, so I put a feeler out on Zoo Creepers, which is a Facebook group, and about an hour in, I had to shut off the comments because I got too many, like of people wanting to be on it.
Where did you put it on? Which platform did you put it on for
So,
people?
I asked. So Zoo Creepers is a Facebook group.
Oh,
So I asked, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm looking for. Anyone in animal care that wants to talk about mental health, and it was amazing. It was
that's
amazing. So
bad.
that the response.
I never knew how bad it was in the zoo situation in terms of like the mental health. I figured out how bad it was when I first met you, but also on this this girl Kristen, she said the same stuff's going on in her workplace. So
Mhm.
what you're providing is so needed. You're helping them in such a genuine way, like long form conversation. Let's just talk, and really get to the root of the situation here.
And
Podcasts.
I'm sure you know. I mean, from doing quite a few podcasts now that as a host, there's not much you need to do. You have that active listening, that deep listening, and empathetic understanding of what they're trying to convey. It's been incredible of just letting these amazing individuals go, and everyone's been like wow, that's it was so natural and so beautiful and um so dynamic with everyone,
Mhm.
with me just going, just basically nodding,
Mm.
that they have so much to give and so much to say,
Yeah.
that it's just such a rewarding process I didn't realize really existed before.
Yeah. I agree. I'm still learning to be a better listener, because like when you listen, everything comes out of them. It keeps coming out, and I try to shut up in those moments. And as I'm editing it, it's like I'm realizing I keep saying like yeah or I'm like, bro, just shut up, just shut up.
That's fascinating. Yeah. I mean, it's both. I want to be an active listener, and also I'm a very lazy editor. So,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so chop everything up and
Yeah,
just let them be their best self is just. I mean, that's my personal mindset is this is not my podcast. This is for them to have a platform to open up and say what they want to say, and hopefully what they say reaches other people and resonates with other people, and that's it. I
mhm.
mean, I want to be as hands off as possible, honestly, and let it evolve the way it needs to.
You probably have a much better listening capability than me because I use podcasts to listen to what my guests say, but also to further expand upon my ideas in this long
Mm.
environment. Um, because like if I post a video where it's just me, I'm not like talking to another person. I can't explain complex topics in the same way as I can if it's a natural flowing conversation. So I use it for both purposes.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's a beautiful thing. Like the major podcast people, like the top of the game, the Joe Rogans and stuff, they're good at both. Where like Joe Rogan is a great listener, he'll shut up for long periods of time, and that's where like this incredible like flow of speech comes out of their guests. But at other times, he will start talking, and he has this ability to just break down complex things in this like digestible way for like an
hmm
average citizen to understand and get influenced by. And that's actually a very powerful skill to have. And he's inspired people to get into shape. He's inspired people to get into better diet, better health. Because he uses no scientific jargon when he talks. He's just like an average citizen the way he talks. So
yeah,
yeah, that's why I love the podcast environment. It's just like we're not all snobby scientists on this pedestal. We're just casual conversation right now. You know,
yeah.
we might back up some of our claims from science, and it's like backed up. It's not we're not just talking out of our ass, but it's just like a very welcoming like environment for viewers.
It is. It absolutely is.
I think we did good for the time we had 2 hours in, and people will benefit for sure. If you had any hobbies you were up to right now, like any hobbies.
My hobby has become my work.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, it's a place I enjoy being. Personal fulfillment I get from my profession has become my hobby.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
being there, I mean, I'll spend time, off the clock. I'll have lunch with the animals, and just trying to be immersed in more green spaces. Being outside, especially. I mean, as you know, the winter can be a little harsh.
Yeah, yeah.
So taking advantage of this beautiful weather that we have has been my hobby.
Dang, so you have lunch with elk and bison and stuff?
I do. I
That's
do.
awesome freaking
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, I'll find where they're at in the property, and we'll just hang out,
That's
just
so
enjoy
cool.
each other's company.
I have to go so out of my way just to see an elk. So you have a great job. Just letting you know.
Well, I'm going to extend the invitation too. If you ever are in the area, I would love to give you the VIP tour.
Dude, I would really appreciate that. I will let you know because I do want to drive down to Georgia to see family.
Hmm
On the way, I'll try to make that work because I definitely want to see that situation. I want to see you there. So the VIP tour, I'd appreciate. Thank you. Um,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, dude, I'm about to go to a friend's. My friend, he's in a band. He's the guitarist, and my other friend, they're friends from high school. He's the lead singer. So I have to go watch them perform at a pub in Shelby. It's pretty
Okay.
cool. It's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed they're like the next Red Hot Chili Peppers because they're so good, dude. But yeah,
Cool.
dude, that's what I got going on for the rest of my day. So I'll
All
let you
right.
get to it.
Yeah, have fun, and yeah, I think I'm gonna do my hobby and enjoy this beautiful weather.
Yeah, awesome. I'll get it uploaded and out, and I'll send you the link and cut out some parts of it.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. It was great catching up.
For sure. You too, bro.
All right, see ya.